Today I messed up by telling my mom I got a piercing and me and my dad kept it a secret for 5 years. She's not happy. I grew up in a very strict household. My mother was always the one to say I couldn't go out after a certain time. I had to be home by a certain time. I couldn't have tattoos and piercings. She has also tracked my location since I was about 16 and continues to do so now, but that's another story. Just to give some background. When I was 17, I expressed to my mother that I wanted a piercing. We had several conversations where every point I made was smacked down with a, "No, you're not allowed one." This continued until I was 19 and I moved away from home for university. At this point, I decided to get the piercing, but I didn't tell my mother. I knew she would react very badly and I feared confrontation and being shouted at/yelled at. I never argued with her because quite frankly, she did and does scare me. I did, however, tell my dad. He had piercings when he was younger and he was far more laid back about them and tattoos in general. He had no problem with me getting it. Fast forward to today. I've always had trouble opening up to my mother about my issues, but today she actually helped me to talk about something I'm struggling with. We were having a really good bonding session and talking about being rebellious teenagers and how she rebelled but I didn't. And then I decided to tell her about the piercing 5 years later. Surprisingly, at first she was okay with it. I put the piercing in to show her and she didn't like it but said it's none of her business now that I'm almost 25. Then she asked if my dad knew. This is where I messed up. I was so relieved that she was being so good about it. I said yes without thinking. She blew up. She is furious that my dad didn't tell her and kept it from her all this time. According to her, her ex-husband lied to her when they were together. And she said her and my father didn't keep secrets from each other. She brought up the fact that when I came out to her, she told my father the same night and talked to him about it, saying they talk about everything, and she can't believe he would keep something like this from her. I also told her not to tell my father, which she did anyway, if that's relevant. I've never seen her react like this to anything. So now I'm left absolutely devastated that I've caused this, and that I've potentially caused irreversible damage to their marriage and relationship, all because I was too scared to tell her about my piercing when I was younger. What do I do? First off, this is really not your fault for not telling them. You obviously were afraid of talking to your mom. And second off, this is a crazy overreaction. It'd be different if he was hiding some deep, dark secret that actually affects their marriage. It seems like the mom in this situation is just reaching for anything she can to be offended. Like maybe there's something else going on between her and her husband that's not being told about in this story, but for the mom to be upset that the dad didn't tell her about their daughter getting a piercing is kind of weird to me. I wouldn't feel bad about this. You didn't do anything wrong. You're living your life. And obviously you didn't tell her because you were afraid she was going to freak out. And if anything, that speaks volumes about the mom and not about you.
The full video is on Am I the Jerk, so check out the link in the description for that, and if there are any updates, that's where they'll be. But also, there's a playlist that has all the stories for Am I the Jerk and Am I the Genius. So if you click that playlist, it'll just play one long story after another. This is a good option for people that are completionists and want to listen to every story on the channel. That way it makes it easy if you just want to throw it on in the background and play some games or work out or zone out. And the playlist is already here on YouTube, so you don't have to go anywhere.